Hello, everybody. It is great to be here one more time. And my name is Gary Fowler, and I am the host of GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done 17 companies. I've been involved in two unicorns. I was on the original management team of Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for 1.35 billion, a little less than 4 years ago. Also, Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company that I co-founded with Dr. David Yang. Love artificial intelligence and quantum computing, and believe that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world. And with that being said, I'd like to introduce you to my guest today from Ghana, Ian Ziddah. Hi, Ian. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you. How about you?
Great, great to have you here today. And I had some questions for you. So, how do you go? You spent a lot of times at University of Westminster, University of Wales. You went to Duke. So, how did your journey start? This entrepreneurial journey when you went from Alcatel as a project engineer to here we are at Chanzo Capital. What is that journey like?
Okay, so it's um, it's probably been a bit more of building on successes, and so as a project engineer, I just built on my successes and ended up becoming a consultant. And from there, I did I went to Westminster, and then just built some more on, and eventually found myself in Ghana in MTN, one of the biggest telcos on the continent. There, I really developed myself entrepreneurially. I had to build products, I had to um, do business development, and I had to travel the continent sometimes to see my products through. And so eventually I found myself at a stage where I was ready to actually take on the challenge of building companies. I built a fintech for a couple of years and passed it on to the owners of the company. And then from there, um, I joined hands with Eric at Chanza Capital, and we've been working together for the past 3+ years.
Oh, that's great. So tell me a little bit about Ghana because I know we do a lot of work in Nigeria and other parts of the continent. Why is there so much around Ghana? And people talk about technology and a lot of
Yeah.
changes taking place. Why is it?
So Ghana is a bit like Kenya. So people rave a lot about Kenya on the tech scene, and so Ghana is pretty much like Kenya in a lot of regards. It was a former British colony. Um, we speak English widely. The population is well educated. It's also on the coast. Um, and so it's just got the right factors for it to allow for a certain kind of economic development and social development. So you find democracy thrives here as well. Excuse me, democracy thrives here as well. And um, in the end, it just allowed tech companies to be able to grow here. So we have a few accelerators. We also have um, a lot of people involved, not only on the tech scene, but also in others, real estate and others. And so, building upon that, you find that it's become quite a hotbed. We have Google here. Recently, we have um, Twitter joined the fold. We have quite a number of companies that have sold and become global brands. Unfortunately, they're not as big as you would like, but some are in Canada, some are in um, some are in the United States as well, and they're doing very well, to be honest. And then we have a whole lot of people poised in different parts of the tech industry, especially in Silicon Valley, lawyers, um, finan- financiers, and so on. And so, in so doing, the skills have been able to permeate back into Ghana to give us a vibrant scene.
No, it's great. It's a a great opportunity. And I've told my audience many times, my grandmother's actually from North Africa. And
Yeah,
so, her family was there for hundreds of years in Egypt.
yeah,
And so, we've got we've got a big focus on the African continent. I mean, you got 1.3 billion people on the continent. I mean, it's amazing.
absolutely.
And this is a hotbed of opportunities when you talk about AI and fintech. I mean, every time I talk about fintech, there's another company that's coming out of the continent that's really
Hmm.
starting to, you know, make a dent in the universe. So I'm excited. Okay, what about Duke? How in the world did you ever decide to go to Duke?
Okay,
Was that
so
like one day you woke
that's
up and said, I'm thinking Duke is the place for me. I'm gonna do. I've gone to Westminster. I've done all this British thing, but now I'm gonna come to the U.S. and I'm gonna go to Duke.
okay. So that's a story in itself as well. Um, it got to a point where I knew that I needed to build my business skills, and so I had to decide quickly which schools to go to. So I put out to a number, some well known, some not so well known. But in doing the analysis, I realized that Duke's program was very strong on international management, and it was also very strong in business, in general management. Um, it also has a very strong team focus, and that plays time and time again into the entrepreneurial and business space. And so those were the factors that made me choose Duke. Um, traveled with my colleagues to different countries. We ended up in London, England, went to Dubai, went to Russia, went to Thailand, and then China as well. So it was a well rounded experience. I got to experience these cultures very much and got took away quite a lot, which helps me today in relating to people everywhere I go. So yeah, uh, I would recommend Duke for anyone seeking an international focused sort of MBA.
No, I was an MBA professor at one time. I actually lived in Russia on and off for 14 years, and I started
Yeah,
the Startup Academy at Skolkovo with Lawrence Wright, but I also was a professor there. And so I had those international students from an entirely different perspective coming out, right? And so they would go to China, they would come to the US,
yeah,
we set up the program in Silicon Valley. I actually, for a summer, brought them over. It was amazing to see their eyes really light up. And when they
yeah,
went over to Stanford University, met from some of the top folks, take them over to Google or Facebook to meet with people. And it was the energy that was there. So, I've seen it from the other perspective. I
mhm,
see it from Silicon Valley perspective. The world's becoming a smaller place with this digital transformation, and the
yeah,
opportunities. Here we are in StreamYard. Last week, I had a friend on my show that sold 5 to 9 to Zoom for $14.7 billion. He started his
yeah.
apartment, and his dreams can
Impressive.
still come true. And we're putting a lot of effort ourselves in the continent because there are so many untapped opportunities, and it's people just like yourself that are really bringing those forward. So tell us a little bit. So I know in terms of Chanzo that you're an operating partner of the fund. You're raising a $50 million target. Where are you with that? What kind of companies are you looking at investing in? Um, how does that work?
Right. Okay. So the Chanzo story, I think. So we we realized that there was a lot of potential for mobile, and we thought to begin to investigate how to get in the space and help these companies to raise their monies. In so doing, we thought that 50 million as a minimum would be enough to take most of them through a few rounds of funding. And um, in looking again, we decided to up that figure. So that figure actually is between 50 and 100 million now. Thanks to COVID, we weren't able to succeed with our first round fundraise. So we
Hmm.
doubled back, and when we just got back into the market as at yesterday, and we're looking for this 50 to $100 million raise. Now we're still focused on tech, um, not just mobile. In fact, mobile underpins everything. So, like it or not, that's how we're going to have to operate in Africa. But more focused, we're looking at clean tech, agricultural technology, and then education technology. We feel that those are where we're going to be able to provide most impact over the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, I mean, you look at it, look at the population of the planet's going to go from 8 billion to 13.1 billion estimated by the end of the century.
Yeah,
By the year 2050, we're going to have to double the amount of food in order to be able to feed the population. So
absolutely.
at the same time, 26% of the pollutants out there are caused by livestock. So the world with farming 4.0, with agriculture 4.0 is going to have to dramatically shift and become more
Mhm.
optimized, the Internet of Things. And it's an exciting time, especially for those companies that focus on the opportunity. And I don't know
Yeah.
what your feeling is. I write a lot about AI, and we look at AI as a new electricity because it
Hmm.
impacts the data is killing us, right? In terms of the amount of data that we all have around us, we call it infobesity. And so those companies that can really address those issues. So as I said, with farming, the data points, we
Yeah.
look at our planet where there's 49 zettabytes on data on the planet today. If you
Yeah.
took CDs or DVDs, that would be 35 times between the Earth and the Moon. It's crazy, and grows at 68%
Totally.
per year, right? And people say, "Oh, it doesn't impact me," and then you say, "Well, geez, look at your own personal cloud. You have about 300,000 items in your personal cloud. The entire
Yeah.
web in 1996 is 257,000 website. You, Ian, have more than the entire web, and
Mm.
that number is following the same trajectory. It doubles. And how many times have the viewers said over the last 2 weeks? Somebody says, "I sent you an email or a message. Where did you send it?" I
Yeah.
sent it to Messenger. No, no, no. I sent it to your Gmail. Which one? And then,
Mm.
and then I sent it a week and a half ago. The next thing is, I can't find it. Can you send it again? We can't
Yeah.
find things anymore, right?
It's crazy. Totally.
And the thing is, here you are from Duke University. I've had PhDs from Harvard University, right? Not putting Duke down, but I've had them
Yeah.
say the same thing. It's unbelievable. I've had astronauts, I've had four-star admirals. And the
Mm.
problem is, we need to take care of this challenge. And that data, think of all the data points that are going to come out of Africa over the next 10 years. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. So, those
Yeah.
companies, it's not just about the fintech, it's about having the data and understanding not only what to do with it, but using unsupervised artificial intelligence that can help make decisions for us. Almost like your grandmother, your smart,
Mm.
intelligent grandmother that cares about you will become like your guardian angel. And I see that. And the more I talk to companies in Africa and the opportunity, I see it more and more. How much is
Mm.
AI? How important is AI right today in Ghana?
So I know a few companies have begun their operations. They typically work with the big corporate clients like the telecom companies and also the banks. Um, it's yet to really take a hold, but we can begin to see the benefits in the way the banks curates their data and targets their customers and so on. The telcos also are beginning to provide even more differentiated services, almost personalized. And so we know that it's going to grow leaps and bounds. I'm working with one of our companies, and we were discussing recently how we're going to use our data to be able to serve the customers better. And we realize that slowly but surely, we're going to have to work towards putting some AI into the infrastructure to help us along. So, yeah, it's growing in importance, but it's at its very early stages now. In another 5 years, it will likely be the buzzword going in Ghana.
Well, let's just hope it happens sooner than that. I know in Nigeria, I just had a
Yeah,
conversation. I spoke in Nigeria at a conference, and they're having like AI Saturdays, right? So they started bringing
yeah,
people together and they started to talk about it. And that's really the first step. It's just so critically important, especially with, you've got the right hotbed of talent, you've got the right hotbed of weather. You know,
mhm.
uh,
Yeah.
it's interesting, but being close to the beach doesn't hurt, does it?
It doesn't at all. I'm actually literally 200 meters from a beach at the moment. I
Are you
thought I'd,
serious?
sorry,
Wow. I said,
I'm
that's
serious.
amazing. Yeah, yeah. Can we see it on the screen? Can you turn your camera? Or
Sure, I can do a 360.
yeah,
So
yeah.
here we
Okay,
go.
audience. Now here we're going to get a chance of what Ghana looks like. Okay, we see that. Wow, that is now, Ian. It's a tough life, but somebody's got to do it, huh? Oh man, that's amazing, Ian. It's a real tough life. By the way, that looks like it could be in Miami. Actually, nicer than Miami. That's
Yeah,
absolutely
absolutely.
beautiful.
It's, I think it's on par, this facility, with what you have in Miami.
It's amazing. And how about the cost of living? What's it like in Ghana? So if companies want to come down and relocate there, is it expensive to live in Ghana? Is it cheap? How is it like
Right.
compared to the rest of the continent?
So um, relative to someone coming from Europe or the US, it's um, it's not too it's not cheap, but it's not expensive either. I
Hmm.
think it may be about a third cheaper than what you're used to in the States.
Hmm.
Someone coming from an affluent part of Asia will find it pretty much on par, and then someone coming from a poorer part of Asia may find it a little bit expensive. Um, our currency is the CD. It changes 6 CDs to a dollar.
Hmm.
And so for an average drink, for instance, it costs me 4 CDs, which is probably about 70 cents. Um,
Well, you can't beat that.
yeah. And then
That-
hotels, you can spend anywhere from about $50 all the way up to about $400 or $500
mhm.
a night. So there's pretty much a lot to choose from, and you shouldn't be far wrong. Our 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 population is structured into um, low income, middle income, and high income. Low income would probably earn about 1,000 CDs or less per annum. The middle income will earn anything from 1,000 to about 20,000 per month, and
Mhm.
then a high income earns anywhere from 20,000 plus a month.
Well, that's
So
not bad at all. That's
yeah.
not bad.
So for most companies, um, Google, Oracle, and Co, it's not expensive. It actually is probably 50% cheaper for you to relocate and run your facilities here. We have stable power, good road networks, especially in the cities, and so it makes for a comfortable living.
No, that's great. I loved it. Thanks for sharing it with me. Thanks for with the audience showing the view. It's incredible to find you feel the personal side of it. I just love it. So, in terms of your fund,
You're
when are you
welcome.
going to close the fund? When do you think it's going to close in terms of the 50 to $100 million? What's your target?
Okay, so we have some commitments coming in. So we believe that our first close will be by November this year. In
Hmm.
fact, we have planned everything towards that, and it looks like we're hitting our marks to close on time, basically.
No, that's fantastic.
So
And
you can
so,
tell your people to come join us in the fun.
what about I know you've been doing this thing called the Angel Fair. Are you still doing that?
Yeah. Yes, we are. There's one due for uh, November this year, actually, and this time we're doing it in Mauritius. But before I go into that, um,
Ian, we lost you
Basically, the
for.
Angel Fair was started. Sorry, I think I had a disruption there.
Mhm.
The Angel Fair runs so we can bring entrepreneurs and business and financiers together so they can do deals. The financiers finance and have some decent traction with venture capital. Sorry, with startups that are um, that can be trusted, that are known by people in the industry like us. So we've done it in several countries: um, uh, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Mozambique, Tanzania, and so on. Last year we had one in Senegal, but it was held virtual due to COVID. This year we're doing Mauritius, and we believe that um, things should go as planned with all the vaccines and everything. We think that we'll be able to pull off Mauritius as a live event. Um, we're expecting about 50 to 100 investors. We're also expecting um, about 20 plus entrepreneurs to make the trip, and it should be exciting seeing all the moves coming in the market with AI, with fintechs, and so on. It should be an exciting event.
No, that sounds amazing and interesting. So if you need anything from GSD side, just let me know. I'd be happy to do
Sure,
what we can to help you out. I love
sure. An
these
invite to you
opportunities,
as well.
and I love what you're doing. I like the idea of the fun. I like the idea that there's finally a real focus from my perspective on the countries in Africa. And like I said, all the time I hear Ghana. Like if
Mm,
not number one, either Kenya, Ghana, and of course Nigeria. I hear about
typically,
and South Africa, but I hear about you a lot. So it's really good, and
yeah.
and we're really focused on African startups. We've had 5 African startups through GSD so far through a cohort. One of them just got funded recently,
Wow.
and so
Congratulations.
we're really focused on it and having the growing up as a kid, my grandmother was she would speak Greek and Arabic to me, and I had
Okay.
my friend said, "What are you saying?" Because I would repeat the words. I didn't, it was to me it was normal. But
Yeah.
what happened is I didn't realize that she was we didn't talk about it that much, but she immigrated from Africa. That's where she came from, North Africa. Came over to the U.S. with her family. There was a lot of challenges. She moved over here. Same with my grandfather, although he's Greek. And the world's really opened up and the opportunities are out there. But investors,
Mm,
startups, listen, Africa's a great place. There's a lot of opportunity. We got to get a lot more AI there because you got a whole lot of data going to be coming out real soon, especially as you're
yeah.
saying with 5G and 6G coming online. We say intellectual capacity is evenly spread, but opportunities aren't. But I see it
Mm.
happen in Africa very, very, very quickly. So it's more power to you. So what's happening right now in terms of the situation with COVID? Has it slowed down in Ghana, or how is it right now?
So with the Delta variant, we are we've seen a uptick in the numbers. Um, so, for instance, 2 weeks ago we saw 1,500. Last week we saw just over 3,200, and now we're trending 5,000. So we're seeing it double um, each week. Um, the good thing is we haven't had a serious surge yet, um, and we hope that it stays that way. The government is very strict on who comes through our borders, so our borders are shut currently. We have 3 borders to Togo on the west, on the east side, to Ivory Coast on the west side, and to Burkina Faso on the north side. So they're all shut at the moment. We also have flights coming in, but the flights, when they come in, the passengers are heavily screened for COVID, and sometimes it you know irritates people, but it is what it is. and we have to keep ourselves safe. Um, Within Ghana, like where I am at the moment, if I look around me, because I'm outside, there's not so many masks. But immediately I go indoors, there's everyone with masks on. It's always close by. I have mine here.
You
And
and me both.
yeah, and then we also have the vaccinations going on. Unfortunately, we don't have as many coming in as we would like, but so far there's about 5% of the population vaccinated. And so we look forward to that climbing over the next few months. We're expecting a few more million vaccinations to come in, sorry, vaccines to come in over the next few weeks. And so it's a slow moving ball, but we'll eventually get there, and we're hopeful. So far, so good. It's not likely you'll get COVID if you come to Ghana because we're an outdoors sort of culture as well. And so it helps to keep the virus at bay.
No, it's great, and I look forward to it. I want to come down to Ghana in the not too
Sure,
distant
yeah.
future. I think there's incredible opportunities there. I admire you and those kind of things that you're doing there.
Thank
It's
you.
just incredible. The technology is incredible, and it's a beacon of hope, a beacon of opportunity that we see. So it's great. So in closing, Ian, we're coming to the top of the hour. So closing comments and how can people reach you?
Um, so I would say Africa's been overlooked a lot in terms of venture capital and startups, but there is absolutely a scene here. And um, since my time in formal corporate, in a formal corporate company, things have come a long way. All around me, I see startups coming up all the time. Venture capital is also pouring in. And so we reckon if there's a good time for investors to come into the continent, it's now. And if there's a good time for entrepreneurs to think about jumping into the entrepreneurial scene or tech scene for that matter, it's now. There's only good things going to happen over the next 50 plus years. So thanks as well for having me on your program. I really admire your work, all you're doing at the forefront of AI, and I hope that we'll be able to join hands one day and work together as well.
Absolutely, 100%. You can reach Ian on LinkedIn. He's got a LinkedIn profile there, Ian Ziddah, Ziddah. Check it out. I'm sure he'd be happy to respond to you. And with that, I want to thank you very much, Ian, for taking time out of your, I was going to say busy schedule. It looks like you're enjoying yourself. I got to tell
Yeah,
you,
it's a
you
quick.
got the pool in the background. You're talking about the drinks. What else do you need? So, but thanks for your time. My name's Gary Fowler, and I am the CEO, president, and co-founder of GSD Get You Done Venture Studios. And it's great to have incredible guests just like Ian on my show. We will be back again on Thursday for another exciting edition of GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. We love the African continent. We love the opportunities that are taking place there. Ian, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep smiling to my
Thank you.
audience. Tune in again. I'll be back soon. Have a great day. And that's it from GSD. Thank you.
Thank you.